We now move on to the dating portion of the Jordana Green Show here on WCCO. So much popularity these days at these online matchmaking, online dating sites. You fill out a profile, and some of them are really, really extensive, almost to the point where it's like you feel like you got to mail in a DNA sample. And then there's these guys. It's just lunch. And I like to call them more of the analog approach to things, although they do spend quite a bit of time getting to know you. And that's why we wanted to welcome in Courtney Smallbeck from It's Just Lunch to talk a little bit about this. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
So somebody that's interested in working with It's Just Lunch, you guys do spend a little bit of time kind of building a profile or collecting data about prospective people to then match up with others that participate in It's Just Lunch, right?
Yes, our matchmakers actually spend quite a bit of time getting to know each of our clients. It's a very personalized service, so we spend time getting to know them over the phone, and then we meet them in person as well.
Mm-hmm. You know, I like to say that you have an analog component, and I mean that in the best way. I mean, anybody can write an algorithm these days with artificial intelligence to really harvest all these really quirky quant math geek kind of things.
Right.
But there's something about human intuition, human emotion, human chemistry that human beings pick up on.
All of our clients have actual files in our office with, photos and facts and handwritten notes. It is all very personalized because, you can look at somebody's file and say they like this and this person likes this and then we think they'll get along, but there's also that intuition piece that that piece that a matchmaker comes in and says, I don't even know what it is. Here are all the facts and yes, they'll get along, but I really, really feel that these two people are going to hit it off. There's going to be chemistry and they're going to really like each other.
I would imagine, if you're on the other side of the table, so to speak, running an It's Just Lunch franchise in a respective market, and you're good at your game, you could grow those skills into, growing past that. And, because there's a lot of executive dating services out there that people that are very, very well-to-do and just don't have a lot of time to mess around, they pay handsomely for those types of arrangements.
Absolutely, yes. We actually really, most of our clients are professionals. That's why you always see our ads in the airline magazines, because we are just waiting for that busy professional who's flying off to a business meeting in San Francisco to realize, you know what, I could probably date, but who has time? So It's Just Lunch takes that work out of it. We set people up. We take care of all of the arrangements, the restaurants, the schedules, everything. So when you are busy and you are a professional, you are able to find that time to date through us.
So take me through the process then of how, you guys are different than, when somebody goes to like eHarmony and versus Tinder and stuff like that. How does it all work?
Well, I think anytime you read a profile on, Match.com, you're reading what the person wants you to read. This person is spinning a tale of who they are. But really, is that true? And I'm not saying that people lie in their profiles on purpose, but I think we like to see, no, me too. But, we like to present the best version of ourselves. Whereas in a matchmaker sees the real you. They get to know you, and they are able to kind of read between the lines of what you say you want and what you really want. So that's where we really come out ahead of all these apps and sites, plus algorithms. Is a computer program really going to find you love? I have my doubts.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, as you just pointed out, you're going to spend the first couple of dates in the, computer Match.com world sorting through all the layers of the onion, all of the, the facade of the brand that somebody has created to get to that real person, where It's Just Lunch.com, you're both kind of on a neutral playing field, so to speak. The person that has evaluated you both sees you not as you see yourself when you're getting ready in the mirror.
Exactly. The thing with online dating is that they say that the average single person spends about an hour a day on dating sites, searching profiles or swiping left, swiping right on these apps. But do you know how often they actually go out? 1 hour a day searching, once every 3 months on a date. That's 7 hours a week, 28 hours a month. I don't even want to think about it past that because you invest so much time in this online stuff. And then you get in front of someone and, you're one glass of wine in and you think, nope, never want to see this person again.
Yeah.
What a waste.
It's like, I need to text my friend for that emergency call. The parakeet got out. I've got to go. I'm sorry.
That is a dating app that I can stand behind, the one that emergency calls you.
Yeah. Well, how about, for people that want to succeed at something like this without being fake? How do you go about finding, the persona that you bring to the table, so to speak?
With It's Just Lunch or in general day-to-day life?
It's Just Lunch. I mean, because you're still going to come to the lunch, with trying to put your best foot forward. But at the same time, you don't want to set up expectations that really aren't you.
Exactly. We do tell each of our clients kind of key things about the other person so they know a little bit about the other person. But the other piece that we really encourage is second dates. Nobody's ever truly themselves on a first date. And, you're a little nervous or somebody's sitting across from you. You've never seen this person before. You're kind of creating conversation. And, of course, you have things in common because we wouldn't have set you up otherwise. But it's still a little nerve-wracking. So we really encourage our clients to go out on that second date. If you think that there is any chance you want to see this person again, we say absolutely go for it. And on that second date, that's really when you start to kind of loosen up and you really start to become you're relaxed, you're kind of funny, you're making jokes, you feel like you've met this person before, you know them. That is where real chemistry begins to build.
And when it comes to things like a second date, do you recommend things like maybe go bowling or do something, you don't want to go to a movie because then you're spending your time focusing on the movie and not the other person.
Right. I like activity dates on maybe a third or fourth date. That second date, you're still really getting to know somebody and you are in that more relaxed zone. So I think that's a great opportunity to get some more conversation in. But that third date is a perfect time to bring in that activity because you're still talking, but you're interacting, you're having fun. You're seeing if your date is a good sport or not, or if they are, knocking you off your game. It's pretty revealing.
So what type of places do you send clients to, like around the Twin Cities here, that are good locales for it? And It's Just Lunch date.
Only the best places, Moose. Come on. We
course.
We have a lot of restaurant partners that we work with, and they kind of know the deal. When our clients come in, they know their reservations under their first names. They know to connect them. It's all a very smooth process. So we go to a lot of great restaurants. We don't. We try not to send anybody any place they would not look forward to going.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's probably part of the process of when you're interviewing these prospective clients for It's Just Lunch.
Yes, and we try to do it in convenient locations as well. So if you have somebody in Cottage Grove and someone in Apple Valley, we try to find that, in between so no one has to drive too far.
What do you do when it comes to different age groupings? How do you handle that? Is that based on what the client wants, or is that also a judgment call based on, the It's Just Lunch people?
A little of both. We definitely ask our clients what their parameters are. But if we have somebody who's maybe a year or two beyond that on either end, we say to our client, I do have this match that I want to set you up with, and I think it's really great, but, he is a year younger than you had said that you wanted to date. Are you open to giving this person a chance? And a lot of people are open to that. I think in your mind, these age parameters sound good when they're just numbers, but when you attach them to a real person who's interesting and shares your goals, and could, be a fun date, I think you're a little more forgiving. But yes, we are very respectful on staying within client parameters. We don't want anyone to be uncomfortable.
Okay. And is it truly a lunch date? Because in this day and age, it seems like it's awful tough to try to even squeeze in an hour for lunch, let alone
Exactly.
2 hours to try
Yes,
to get to a date location and then get back to your job. Or is
Yes.
it more like it's just after dinner appetizers and drinks?
We've changed our advertising to say it's just lunch or a drink after work, because I always say 90% of our clients do indeed choose the drink after work. In this day and age, it is hard to get away, and especially if you have to get in your car and drive. If you've only got 45 minutes for lunch, that's not much of a date.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I just don't see in the practicality world.
Now,
really
every
working.
once in a while, we'll get some lunch dates, but fairly often it's like brunch on the weekends or drink after work.
Courtney Smallbeck is with us from It's Just Lunch here on the Jordana Green Show on WCCO. I'm Moose Miller. It is 9:47 on this Monday evening. What do you recommend for what people should wear on this first It's Just Lunch date, or we're just getting together right after work for dinner or for drinks and maybe appetizers? What do you wear?
I always tell women, wear a dress or a skirt. And this may seem a little old-fashioned, but one of the things that men tell us almost every single time is that when they are on a date, they would like to see a woman in a dress or a skirt and heels. And it's for the gentlemen, make sure that you are, pressed and buttoned up, and you don't look like you've come straight from the office. Put on some great shoes. Make sure your cologne is good. Take that extra effort and that extra time to make sure that you look like somebody that your date would want to get to know.
Yeah, and how do you turn it into a date, not an interview?
Yeah. Well, I think the important thing is to have a conversation and not an interrogation. People do tend to do that when they're nervous.
Yes.
But yeah, so you do have to kind of control that, make sure that there's that back and forth. And, maybe share something about yourself and invite conversation in that way, rather than asking, kind of that firing squad of questions. Where did you grow up? What do you like to do? How many siblings do you have? There's plenty of time to find out about kind of the details of somebody's life. But, it's, what do you think of this wine? What did you do last weekend? What's your favorite movie? These are much more interesting topics of conversation where people can get into them, and it does feel, it just feels more comfortable. Nobody wants to be interviewed.
And I think some people are just really natural conversationalists. There are other people that it's like, can you just stop talking for a moment and let's have a two-way conversation and not a monologue from you?
Exactly. And it's also important that you are asking and answering questions. I think we've all been out on that date where you ask a question and the person across from you answers it, and that's it. They don't follow up with, more additional information or a follow-up question, and then it's kind of back to you. Okay, next question. And I think it's fair play. Both people have to participate in that conversation and make sure that they are, active.
And I would imagine you probably want to avoid politics.
Yes, especially these days.
You think?
How
about that Affordable Care Act? How about that Obamacare?
Yeah, we definitely encourage people to hold off on the political conversation. It's just kind of a volatile time for that right now, and even prior to this last year or two, we would give that advice because it tends to bring out hot button issues.
All right, and then what about for people that are just re-entering the dating scene? Probably a really good idea to touch base with folks like you at It's Just Lunch, because if you haven't been out there on the field, so to speak, a lot has changed.
Oh, so much. Yes, it's really tough. We get a lot of people who are, who've maybe gone through a divorce or, are new on the market and are looking to seriously date. They've kind of done their work on themselves. They feel they're in a good place, and if they've been off the market for a while, they really don't know what the next step is. It's very overwhelming. There's a reason we call it swipe fatigue, because there are so many new apps and
not only that, you got to go back and look at your Facebook profile and any other social media profile that you have out there. What stuff that you've written about, bitched about, complained about, dreamed about. All of that's going to be out there for somebody if they're going to go on a second date to research about you, right?
Oh, yes. Facebook stalking is absolutely a pre-date thing. I don't know many people that don't try to look somebody up. And, do you really need that picture from 3 years back that
Sure.
you don't realize is public?
Yep, good idea. So go back and double check all that stuff before you. The folks from It's Just Lunch will explain everything for you.
Yeah.
Good idea to maybe reach out to them. Courtney Smallbeck, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.